Following a recent video I made with regards to a clone ETA2824 movement, a review and strip down, we were left rather unimpressed. I decided to spend a little bit more and obtain a Seagull ETA2824 movement. This looks rather more impressive. We will be covering this in a future video. I've also purchased a clone ETA2892 movement, and I thought it would be rather interesting to review this movement as well. Right off the bat, I can see that it's actually a really good example. It's nice to see this purling. If we were considering to put this into a movement case with a display back, of course that would look rather nice. The automatic ball raise here has some knurling in it, and it looks pretty much as I would expect from an original. The rotor is connected to the ball race with this bolt here, and also once again that looks just like an original. Whether these parts would be interchangeable with the ETA version, it's probably not going to happen, but to all intents and purposes it really does look like the genuine article. Now the barrel bridge is jeweled, a jeweled bearing for the barrel arbor. I believe it's top and bottom. There's a jeweled bearing on the main plate as well. When I try to wind the movement manually, it feels smooth and doesn't feel gritty at all. The balance cock has the usual regulator that we would expect with the fine adjuster here. A beat corrector is hiding somewhere in there. And we've got the regulator arm here as well, which is freely movable. Just check the operation of the automatic winding. I can actually see that wheels are turning. This is smooth and it's not gritty at all. Let's put this on the timer machine and see what the current performance is. Now with my previous review, the 2824 movement, it was quite apparent right from the get-go that it was a very poorly constructed movement. As we started to strip it down, we certainly did find plenty of problems. Also, plenty of dirt and hairs. The quality control in the factory during the assembly process left a lot to be desired. So what I'm going to do is strip this watch down now and see how it compares. Well, so far it's rather impressive. The plates seem to be nicely polished. The wheels also seem to be nicely polished. It's not 100% perfect. There are a few scratches. We can see a nice long scratch here. Let's reduce the power from the mainspring and continue stripping this down. This is quite clearly a stamping, and it's fairly rough around this area here. In fact, it looks like it may have been bent down by whoever assembled it, possibly to adjust for end shake with the pallets. I can see some scoring here where the setting lever has been rubbing against it, and I believe this is due to the fact that the setting lever has been stamped out with the burr being left in place. So it might be a good idea just to smooth that over before I reassemble this. That's left a score in the main plate here, which is actually quite deep. I can feel an actual ridge that's carved into it. And with this being a brand new movement, I would suggest that after perhaps a year of use, that would be quite a deep etch. So the setting lever would benefit from a small polish around the edges. That would resolve that issue. One issue that I've found with this watch movement is that the setting lever has actually provided a score in the movement plate here. Now I'm going to deal with the setting lever in a moment, but first I do want to smooth over this score. I just want to confirm which edge is causing the issue. So it seems a sharp edge on this side is scoring into the lower plate. We'll remember that in a moment. First, let's just smooth this over. And after a little bit of burnishing, we've managed to smooth over this section of the watch movement, and there's no noticeable ridges or etches in the plate. It feels very nice now, very smooth like glass. Now we'll turn our attention to the setting lever. Actually the top part of this setting lever is quite smooth and rounded all around the edges. The lower part is actually quite sharp. If I run my tweezers over the edge, I can actually feel a noticeable edge. Combination of that and the setting lever spring pressing this downwards towards the movement plate is what's causing that scoring. What we just need to do is burnish over and break the burr. I'm reluctant to use any file or strong abrasive on this, as I don't want to alter the geometry of the part. I just literally want to break the burr off the edge and make it smooth. Yeah, I can feel a rough edge right here. Okay, and that seems to have done the job. Now the tips of my tweezers are not catching on anything. I'm fairly confident that this has resolved the issue. Okay, with that little issue fixed, I've cleaned the old lubrication from all the parts, and now I'm ready to reassemble the watch movement, and I'm going to be using the recommended lubrication from ETA in order to do that. So let's see how this goes. I've applied a very fine film of grease along the length of this mainspring, so now I'm ready to refit that to the barrel. I have been pleasantly surprised with this Chinese clone of the ETA 2892 A2 movement. There's been a few issues, but nothing impossible to fix. The pattern of the parts were identical to look at with the original, the exception being the Etachron system being absent. The accuracy before strip down was actually not that bad, considering it's not really intended to be comparable to a certified chronometer. The deviation was quite tight, but after service and tweaking, I managed to tighten it up a little bit further. I mean, not to chronometer standards, but good enough for what it is. The movement cost just under $100 and so is a fraction of the cost of an original ETA version, but for price over features, I consider it to be a fairly good purchase and I would have zero hesitation in using it in a future watch build project. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little strip down and review. I hope to bring you more content very soon. I have some nice projects in the works, so please subscribe and feel free to take a look at the watchrepairlessons.com website, where I provide a structured watch repair video course which is currently over 10 hours long. But as always, thanks for watching and I hope to see you next time.